Hi everybody, I hope everybody's having a good day today. So during this week, at a few of my practices, we were doing a specific drill, and every time I did the drill, I would mess up. So for two practices, when we did the drill, I messed up literally. But on the third practice, I was doing the drill and I was still messing up, but halfway through it, I decided to ask somebody for help because I kept on doing it wrong. So I was like, okay, let me just ask somebody for help. So I asked one of my teammates. I was like, hey, bro, what am I doing wrong? And he explained it to me. He was like, this, that. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So as soon as I listened to him, I tried out what he told me. And, and like, just like that, I improved. Like, the way I was doing it completely changed. I started doing it right. And the more I did it, the better I got at it. So the fact that I was open to listening and open to understanding really helped me out because it helped me grow in my game. It helped me advance in my game. It helped me take a step forward in my game. But I just wanted to highlight the importance of listening. It's extremely important that we're open to listening. It's extremely important that we're open to understanding. It's extremely important that we're open to correction. It's extremely important that we're open to constructive criticism. It's extremely important that we're teachable. Because if I wasn't any of those things at that moment, I would have still been stuck on that same thing. It already took me two and a half practices to get it right. If I just asked him earlier or the first practice, I would have probably wasted less time trying to figure that drill out, and I would have probably moved on much quicker. But me being open to asking questions and to understanding helped me take a step forward. It helped me grow in my game. So being open to listening, being open to understanding is extremely important because we don't know it all. We don't know it all, but we have a God that does know it all. We have a God that knows everything from beginning to end, from A to Z. He knows everything. So like I said earlier, it's extremely important that we're open to listening, that we're open to correction, and we're open to constructive criticism, especially when it's the Word of God, especially when it's God's correction, especially when it's God's instructions, especially when it's God's teachings. It's extremely important that we're open to those things because God is always the way to go. The Word of God is always the way to go because Jesus Christ lets us know that He is the way, the truth, and the life. He says that He is the way, and Jesus Christ is the Word of God because John 1:1 says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Jesus Christ is the Word of God, and if He is the Word of God, that means that the Word of God is the way, the truth, and the life. That means that the Word of God is the way. So the Word of God, the instructions of God are always the way to go. It's extremely important that we're open and we're obedient to the words of God, and it's extremely important that we're always seeking the wisdom and knowledge of God. The book of Proverbs, chapter 12, verse 15 says, fools think their own way is right, but the wise listen to others. It says fools think their own way is right. So let us know that it's a foolish thing to think that we're always right. It's a very foolish thing. It says the wise listen to others. Sometimes when God tells us something, we might not understand it. But it's extremely important that we still obey the Word of God, because the Word of God lets us know not to lean onto our understanding. It lets us know in Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 or verse 6. It lets us know not to lean on our own understanding, but to trust in the Lord with all our heart. It says, but then in Proverbs 12:15 it says, fools think their own way is right. Because if we think we're right when God is speaking to us, it doesn't make any sense because God is right. God is always right, and He is always the way to go, whether we understand it or not. The book of Proverbs chapter 19 verse 20 says, listen to advice and accept instruction that you may gain wisdom in the future. It says, listen to advice and accept instruction that you may gain wisdom in the future. It says, listen to advice. Once again, listen. It's extremely important that we're listening to the words of God. It's extremely important that we're open to listening in general. The book of Luke chapter 11 verse 28 says, but he said, yeah, rather, blessed are they that hear the word of God and keep it. It said, blessed are they that hear the word of God and keep it, not they that just hear the word of God and just do nothing. It says, blessed are they that hear the word of God and keep it, meaning obey it, meaning practice it. Because I could have easily listened to my teammate but not did what he says. Then what's the point? Why would I ask him a question and then not listen to what he says, and listen to what he says but not practice what he says? It's basically just as good as me not listening at all. But it's extremely important that when we hear the word of God, we also do it. Because the book of James chapter 1 verse 22 says, but be ye doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving your own self. It says, but be ye doers of the word and not hearers only. deceiving your own self. It says we shouldn't just hear the word of God, but we should also do it. We should also keep it. We should also practice the word of God. And the book of James chapter 1 verse 5 says, if any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generally to all without reproach, and it will be given him. I just want to encourage you guys to be open to teaching, be open to constructive criticism, be open to correction. Don't think that you know it all, because that will only keep you in a box. Open your minds up and open your hearts up to God and trust in God, and know that the ways of God are always correct. Thank you so much for listening to this. God bless you.